increase revenue, help others, impact lives, and you are interested in growing in business and life, and you're open to doing things a bit differently, then you are a DoorGrow property manager. DoorGrow property managers love the opportunities, daily variety, unique challenges, and freedom that property management brings. Many in real estate think you're crazy for doing it. You think they're crazy for not because you realize that property management is the ultimate high trust gateway to real estate deals, relationships, and residual income. At DoorGrow, we are on a mission to transform property management business owners and their businesses. We want to transform the industry, eliminate the BS, build awareness, change perception, expand the market, and help the best property management entrepreneurs win. I'm your host, property management growth expert, Jason Hole, the founder and CEO of DoorGrow. Now, let's get into the show. All right. So, a lot has been going on. Last episode, Sarah and I talked about how we had just come back from an event. We had a whole bunch of different ideas. This last week, then her family came to visit. So, I haven't been able to implement a lot of these ideas, but it was super great seeing her family. And, one thing I was really grateful for during the last week, at the end of the week, I said to Sarah, it's really great that we have a business that allows us that when we want to, we can have those moments with family. Like family come to visit, we can spend that time with them. And she agreed. And so this is something that I want all of you to be able to have an experience too. Hopefully you have this already in your business. If you do not, if you're struggling, if you're like, man, I haven't even taken a vacation, let alone a few days off to spend with family. I haven't taken a vacation or a few days off to spend with family or anything like that in a while, then you have built the wrong business. You didn't build a business for you. You didn't build a business based on what you wanted. You built a business based on what your clients want, maybe. You built a business that you let take over and become its own boss, and the business is now in control of you. You are now a servant or a slave to your business, and you should be the one in control, the one in charge. And so if you're in that position, I want you to get out of this. I want to give you an escape route. So I just did a masterclass on the biggest secret killer or thief in a business, and that's interruptions. And I talked about doing a time study. And this is also the beginning gateway to escaping your business and creating some freedom is to do a time study. And you can use our time study if you'd like. Reach out to us. We can give you our time study document. Just DM me on social anywhere and just say time study or something like that. And my team will say, what am I supposed to give them? Give them the link to our time study document. But the basic idea is that you're going to track your time every 15 minutes. You're going to figure out where your time's going. And you're going to figure out what am I doing that gives me fulfillment, and what am I doing that's taking it away? Like it's draining me. And so you're either going to have a plus sign or a minus sign that you're going to write next to every 15 minutes of where your time goes. So if you're doing something where you feel like you're in the flow and you really enjoy it and this is fun for you and whatever it is, plus sign. If you're like, man, if I never had to do that ever again and I had a team member to do that thing, minus sign. Put that minus sign. Okay? So that's the beginning. Now, before we go any further, I want to announce a contest we just put out. This is a DoorGrow boardroom giveaway. So we have this event coming up on the 8th and 9th of November, DoorGrow Boardroom. And what's super cool about this event is the boardroom style, hot seat style event. When we've been part of it, Sarah and I've attended some of these and I've been part of these different hot seats. When you're in a hot seat with a small group, and small group, I mean like we're going to have 8 people or less, or 8 businesses or less. It's going to be small. And when you have a group that small, everybody can take a turn over the day or two that this little mastermind is running, this boardroom event. What that allows you to do is it allows each person to sit in this hot seat and explain what's going on in their business, explain what challenges they have, and have everybody else give them ideas or feedback or batter them with questions to see maybe you're not as things aren't as good as you think they are, or maybe there's some opportunities, or maybe they have some ideas. And depending on the caliber of the people, it really up levels the group. Well, Sarah and I will be there, of course. And so you have us, and we've coached hundreds of property management business owners. We've helped a lot of people make a lot of money and achieve a lot of success. And we invest a lot of money into high ticket and high level masterminds as well, so that we have knowledge and information that others don't have, so that we can share and provide this to our clients. We always want to be learning so that we have some value to offer to our clientele. And so we'll be there. And those that are able to afford to attend this event will also be pretty, this is not a cheap event. And so we wanted to set the bar high enough that it's going to be only attractive to some really savvy people that really are investing in their business and that are open and that want to learn and that have something of value to contribute. And that's basically what we curate here at DoorGrow. We have an amazing mastermind. And so there'll probably be some people from our mastermind, and maybe there'll be some people outside of it. Now, one of the things we wanted to do to promote this event and to create awareness for it and to create a little bit of hype, because this is our inaugural boardroom event. I'm making up words here. It's our first one. We wanted to do this promotion, and we're going to do a giveaway. And so we're giving away one of these spots worth $5,000. One of these spots at this boardroom event. We are going for this spot, for this boardroom giveaway. We are paying for your flight. We are paying for your hotel. And we're paying for your ticket to the boardroom event. And super awesome prize worth at least $6,000, right? Value, depending on flight and hotel and whatnot. And so this is going to be a really awesome giveaway. And then we're also going to be giving away a bunch of other prizes. We're going to be announcing the prize winners on October 20th. We're doing a live Zoom event meeting, and we're going to be like picking all the prize winners, and we're going to be handing out some prizes. So that's the first place grand prize. And then we're going to have some other prizes that we hand out, because we want everybody to feel like they won in some way. So we recommend you enter this contest. Now, this is just for property management business owners. So sorry to everybody else. Like if you have a car wash or you have your plumber that follows our stuff because you want access to property managers, this is not for you. And you do not get to win the contest. Like that's our rule. Is you have to be a property management business owner, own a property management business. And yeah, because that's our target audience. So get an entry into this event. If you're wondering, how do I get into this event? How do I get registered for this contest? Just go to our Facebook group, doorgrowclub.com, and get access there. Check out my profile on Facebook. You can go to facebook.com/King Jason Hull, Hull, or just look on any of my social, King Jason Hull. I put it out there on multiple platforms. So with the links, so that. And if you're in our newsletter, then you can subscribe, and we'll be emailing about it as well. Oh, I have a special guest. Welcome, Sarah.
I'm giving up.
To the DoorGrow show. Thanks. She was waiting for somebody to show up at our door, and they didn't show up. So, all right.
Nope.
Well, I was just telling them about the boardroom event. And before that, I was mentioning that if they haven't been able to take a trip or a vacation in a while, that they should maybe do a time study. So that's kind of where I've gotten so far. Okay. So, but yeah, the boardroom event's gonna be super cool. Did you want to say anything about it?
Well, without having any idea what you've already said.
You can say it again.
Yeah, you might hear it twice. Sorry. So Jason and I have actually done ourselves like a few events like this. And after experiencing that and having so many great ideas and so much momentum, and just it's just a really different way to, connect with people and like move your business forward. versus like what we think we have to do is like, oh, let's just figure it out. And I'll like watch a
Mm,
bunch of courses and I'll take a bunch of things and I'll like look it up on YouTube and Google will help me. And like, oh, this one guy did it. So then I'll just do what he did. So this is like how we normally do things. This is a little different. And every time that Jason and I have gone to an event like this, we've had so many great ideas. And then like we implement them really quickly. But in that way, in even just the last year, our program has shifted dramatically, like dramatically. So if you've, heard of DoorGrow before, and I'm going to say over a year ago, we're not the same program. We're not the same company. Like there's probably some similarities, but we're really able to get a lot out of events like this and implement quickly. And we decided to kind of bring events like this to our program because we saw so much value in it.
mm,
So, what we do, and again, this is a repeat, sorry, kind of. So, what we do is we bring in at this boardroom style event, we'll have like 8 businesses max. I intentionally want to keep it smaller. I don't want it like super small, but I want it to be a smaller, tight knit group. That way we can really do a deep dive with every business that's there.
mm.
Sometimes if you're like, oh yeah, we're gonna do like a deep dive on your business, but there's 20 or 30 or 40 or 80 people in the room, your deep dive is like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, that's it, maybe half an hour tops. And I just don't feel like that's really enough to like get into the guts of things. So like our deep dive is about like an hour and a half to 2 hours like per business. So I'm keeping it small intentionally. The one thing that I do require of anyone who's even considering attending an event like is this has to be a two-way street. You have to be able to both give and receive from the group.
Mm.
And I think that's really, really different because usually when you go to events, you're just receiving. You're like taking notes and you're learning things and you're hearing speakers and you're watching presentations and you're doing all of this stuff, but you don't really get to reciprocate and give back. This event is very, very different in the way that you do both give and receive from the group. So both Jason and I will be there as property management growth experts. And then all of the participants in the room, you guys are all property managers. So, one person might say, hey, I'm really struggling with something like this. And somebody else might say, oh, well, like we do, this is what we do and this is how we do it. And you can kind of learn and grow and get ideas from both Jason and myself and the group. So if you're considering something like this, I think it's very, very beneficial. We do ask that you have a minimum of 100 doors. This one will be maybe a little different because the winner of the contest may or may not have 100 doors. So if you don't have 100 doors, that's okay. You can still win the contest and you can participate in the event. You'll get a lot from it, like so much from it. In fact, we had at our Game Changer event, we had someone who only had 6 doors.
Mm.
And she was like, this was so great. She's like, I feel like it was really good because I can see now into my future. She's like, some of this
Mm.
stuff I don't need like right now. Some of it I do. She's like, some was relevant for now, but some helps me like see into the future and what I'm going to be able to do when I hit this challenge or like when I hit this milestone. So you'll still be able to participate, but usually we ask that you have at least 100 doors. So the winner of the contest will be able to have less than that. But aside from that, if you're just going to like, buy into a spot at the event, 100 door minimum. The reason for that is if you haven't yet hit 100 doors, that's the only thing you should be focused on. Just keep going until you hit that 100 door
Yeah.
milestone because things really change. They get so different when you're at that 100 door mark in your business.
Yeah. All right, cool. So I was thinking at Funnel Hacking Live at the event that we went to, I really enjoyed Eric Thomas,
Hmm.
ET.
Yeah.
And so and here's my notes from that, but I was thinking we would touch on that for the remainder of the episode.
Yeah, that's cool.
Cool. And it's kind of related. So he's an inspirational speaker, this gentleman named Eric Thomas, and he's gotten to speak to Warren Buffett and billionaires and stuff like this, and he was sharing this idea about this concept of these 3 levels of desire, and he started out by talking about you have to give yourself permission. So if you want success, you want to achieve, and I want you all to crack your mind open and be open to the idea of having massive success in your property management business. I don't know why you would want to suppress that anyway, right? So be open to the idea that 1,000 doors would be a lot more fun, give you a lot more money, and be a lot easier to do as a business owner because you have a great team by then than doing 100 doors, right? And some of your dreams like 100 doors. I want you to 10x that and go big. And we also got to hear Dr. Ben Hardy, who wrote 10x is easier than 1x or 2x. 10x is easier than 2x, which is a great book that I read. I really love that. So I want you to think 10x bigger, but give yourself permission to dream, and the level of your ambition, dream and set that level higher, not to the level of other people's expectations. And so I think and it talks about this in 10x, and Eric Thomas touched about this, but it's the idea that a lot of times we are too afraid to just want. We're too afraid to just want something bigger. And so we feel almost guilty for wanting what we actually want or wanting something big. And so instead we hear this feedback from the world that says, well, that's nuts. You don't need all that. You don't need a nice car. You don't really need a nice house. You don't need this. And that's other people's expectations. But that might not be what you want. And I really believe God puts desires in our heart for a reason. Like, so the first question he asks is, what do you want? Not what do other people want? Like, what do you really want? And whatever you want is okay. You get to want whatever you want. And then he asks, why are you here? Why are you here? And I've heard other coaches ask, what do you want? And why does it matter? But there needs to be a why. I like, why are you here? Because this speaks to your purpose. We have a purpose, and what you want and your purpose are probably aligned in some way. Like having, your dream life and being able to benefit others and have success, they're all interconnected. So, and he talks about 3 levels of want. So I don't want to do all the talking. Do you want to talk about the 3 levels of want?
Yeah. Well, there's something too that I want to kind of add in, because
Yeah.
I've heard this my whole life, and I've been different for a long time, and I'm totally fine with being different. Like even, elementary school, high school, like I've just always thought differently. I've done things differently. I don't like fit in with like the popular
You're weird.
kids. I'm weird. Yeah,
So
I'm
am I.
weird. And I'm really good with being weird, but sometimes people aren't, and especially when they're in school and they're young and everybody's like, oh no, you must conform and you must like fit in, and you spend your whole life trying to fit in when really you need to spend time trying to stand out, trying to be different. So like I said, I've always just done things a little differently, and a lot of times when I make a decision, people will ask me like, well, why do you need that? Why do you need that? And I'm like, I don't need it. I want it. And that's been my answer every time, like my whole life.
Yeah.
Like I refused to my very first home that I ever bought. I bought when I was 26. And until then I had just been renting, but I bought my very first home on my own by myself. No help. I did have a mortgage, yes, but like I didn't get money from my parents or like money from a spouse. Like it was me. I just did it. And I refused to buy a starter home. I was like, I am not going to buy a house that I want to live in for, a year to 3 years. And I'm going to just make it work. And then I'm going to like upgrade and, do the normal thing that people do. They're like, oh, I'll just start here and then I'll upgrade later. I refused to do that. And so I bought a home that I could live in for anywhere from like 5 to 10 years. I was like, I'm not doing this stupid game that people do. So I just did what I needed to do in order to make that happen. And everybody was asking me like, well, why are you doing that? Like, just buy a house that's smaller. Just buy a house that's less expensive. Just do this. Just like, why do you need all that? And I was like, I don't need it. I don't need it. I want it. And it's okay to want big things. And it's okay if the things that you want are not necessarily the same things that other people want. So I really want to mention that, because I think we get this like pressure sometimes to conform to, societal norms and just, do what you're supposed to do. Just do the thing that everybody else does. And there's a lot of times I don't want to do the thing that everybody else does because it's not exciting. So it's okay to like think outside of this box that everybody's trying to put you in. But anyway, so there are three different levels of want. This is one of the things that he was kind of talking about is if you kind of want something and you're like, oh, that would be nice, right? This is what I'm going to call like, hey, I'm fantasizing. Like, oh, it'd be nice if one day we could take this amazing vacation and go to Italy for like 3 weeks and like,
Mm.
tour everything and like just like forget about all of our stresses at home. Oh, wouldn't it be nice if one day we lived in like $1 million home? Wouldn't it be nice if one day I had a Maserati, right? Like it, and we all do this. Every person on the planet does this. Like, oh, this is like, oh, it'd be really awesome. Like, this is like my dream life. Like, if I could just snap my fingers and make something happen, like, it'd be great if I lived in this mansion, right? That's when you like kind of want it. You're like, you can think it, you can maybe say it out loud, but there's nothing solid behind that. You're just like speaking it out, and you're like, oh yeah, it'd be cool if this.
Yeah, he said, he says when you kind of want it, it's but only if it isn't too difficult or inconvenient.
Yeah.
I want it. That's how bad I want it. I want it enough that yeah, it'd be nice, but only if it isn't too difficult or inconvenient. That's the lowest level. What's the next level?
Mm. So then there's something when you really want it. Now, when you really want it versus when you kind of want it. When you really want it, you're like, hey, I'm going to do things. I'm going to make this happen. Like, I'm going to take some action. I'm going to make maybe some choices a little bit differently. This is like, hey, I'm going to take the thing that I want and I'm going to connect it to action. And that's, I think, where most people live is in this I really want it stage. They're like, hey, I really want to make this happen. Like, I'm going to start the business. I'm going to, like make the calls. I'm going to reach out to people. I'm going to promote myself. I'm going to do what it takes, right? I'm going to do it. And I think this is where a lot of people they live right here. They're like,
Mm.
I'm doing the thing. Here I am. Like, I'm showing up. I'm doing the thing, right? And I think what happens a lot of time is this is where we get comfortable because we're doing it. You're like, I want to start a property management business. And then you did it. And now you have clients and maybe you have a team and you've got like, right? You've got money coming in. You're like, I did it. I did it. Yeah, cool. Like, first, are you dreaming big enough? Like, did you start a property management business? Maybe you have a couple doors, maybe you have 100 doors, maybe you've got 500 doors, right? But are we thinking like as big as we should be? And are we living in this like I'm just kind of doing it stage? Like I'm doing it. I want it. I wanted it. I really wanted it. I made it happen, and now here I am doing it. And I think stage 2 and stage 3 are really really different. And stage 3 is when the thing that you want is an absolute non-negotiable thing. I don't remember if it was Eric or if it was Nemaya. I don't remember which one. It might have been Nemaya. I feel like it might
Well,
have been Nemaya.
Eric is Nehemiah's mentor, so
Yeah, they probably
they
both
might have
said
both said it.
it. So, but one of them said, "Listen, I have to do this. Like, I want to do it. I want to. Yeah, I want to. Like, I'm committed. I
Mm,
have the desire. I have the dream. But I also have to do this. I have an obligation to do this. And I
yeah.
have to do this because if I don't do this, he's like, I retired my mom. I retired her. She's been retired for 10 years. If I don't do this, if I stop doing this, my mom has to go back to work.
That was
And
Nehemiah.
that can't happen. He's like, if I don't do this, my wife has to go get a job. And that can't happen. If I don't do this, my kids see me quit and they see me stop and they see me playing small, and that can't happen.
Mm.
So when you want it so much so that it's an absolute non-negotiable and you're willing to do anything that it takes, obviously ethically, anything that it takes until you get this thing and then you keep going, that's I think a different level than like I just really really want.
So yeah, Eric said at that non-negotiable level, when you want what you want, like you want to breathe, then you'll have it. And I thought about that. I mean, you have to want something pretty bad. I know what it feels like to want to breathe, right? And I mean, that's serious desire. He then got into the 3 levels of why, because we talked about why. And again, there's kinda, really, and non-negotiable. And, we have a motive and it's like, well, I want, kinda is maybe, well, it'd be nice to have some extra cash or whatever. That's not a big enough motive. Really want it, man, I'm really hurting for cash right now, maybe. But non-negotiable is like, I am 100% committed. I'm all in on this because this has to work. I have to make this happen. I feel calling inside myself that this is my purpose and I need to fulfill it. I need to achieve it, no matter what the cost. And I think, I think if we have those desires in our heart, there's always the one way that's going to get us there to make it work, and it's not going to be unethical. It's going to be the right way. And and so I think having, focusing on what do you really want and figuring out what would be a non-negotiable for you. Like I'm going to have this, and what's a really solid why. For some of you, like we were able to, I think last year, like a charity reached out and we donated like 4 grand to this charity to help, I don't know, homeless people or something. And, if I was in a financially difficult spot with cash flow in the business and personally, I wouldn't be able to just drop money to charity like that and benefit a group, right? And as a company, we wouldn't be able to do that. Are you able to benefit groups? Are you able to do good things for other people? Then you need to be making more money if you're not able to. So find a way to justify success because success allows you contribution. We talk about the 4 reasons: freedom, fulfillment, contribution, and support. Contribution, you're able to make a bigger impact and a bigger difference if you have a successful, healthy business. And one of the things that Eric said that I wrote down, he said, I refuse. He's a inspirational speaker. And so he said, I'm going to be the best inspirational speaker. I'm going to study it. I'm going to do whatever it takes. And I'm going to speak before kings and rulers. I'm going to be the best. He said, I refuse to be in an industry and not be one of the best in the industry. He said, be great. So are you a kinda property manager or business owner or entrepreneur? Are you you really level, or are you non-negotiable? You refuse to be in an industry and not be one of the best. You're going to be great. Like you've committed to being great. And I've always had this commitment at DoorGrow. Sarah shares this with me. We've always had this commitment to being the best. And we believe we are the world leaders. Nobody else has what we have in property management coaching. We're the best. And I'm committed to staying the best. And this is why we invest so much into the business in terms of learning, investing in other masterminds, getting coaches, getting mentors. We spend more on that than other programs probably make. Other coaches probably make. So he talked about 3 things that are necessary in order to achieve what you want and have the success. And these 3 things, I recommend you write these down. First, you need desire. So we kind of talked about that. You have to really want it. And you have to have a why. And that's that. And then he said you need an A team. You need a really awesome team, like of A players. And then he said you need a system. And what he shared, he shared these examples. He's like, Michael Jordan was an amazing basketball player, but until he got Phil Jackson as a coach, he was not able to play super well with others, and he wasn't able to get championships. He needed a system, and Phil Jackson created a system that allowed Michael Jordan to win and succeed multiple times. But before then, he was just getting lots of points, but he was not winning championships. He then talked about Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson needed a system, and then he found Quincy Jones and started to have a ton of success. And he shared some other examples, but people need a system. And I got really excited when I heard this.
Mhm.
I think I leaned over to you and said something. I think I was like, we're the system.
We are the system. We are
I was
the
like so
system.
excited. I'm like, that's us. We are the system. We just need to
Mhm.
find the Michael Jordans and the Michael Jacksons out there, like the property managers that are like the greats, the ones that want to be great.
And can I say too, because I already know what's going through at least like 3/4 of y'all's brains right now. They're going, "Well, I'm better than everybody else in my market, so look, I am great." Yeah, and that's
It's a pretty low
fantastic,
bar, though.
right? But if you're the best one in the market, and you might be, so I'm talking to you right now, because I was the best one in my market, hands down. There was like no competition. Um, but I was still playing really small. I got up to 260 doors, and then because I was in that really want it. I wasn't in this, "Hey, I'm, like, gonna make this a non-negotiable."
Mm.
And I know, like, I was very aware. I knew where I was. Jason's like, "You could make this a 1,000-door company if you wanted to." I'm like, "I know." I know that I could, and it would have been really easy. I already know what I would have done. I could have doubled my business overnight, and I know that. Um, but I wasn't in this stage where it was a non-negotiable. So, was I the best one in my market? Hands down. But am I really playing full out? No, and I knew I wasn't.
You
I
fe
knew I knew I wasn't. So, if you're thinking like, "Yeah, but I am the greatest already." You might be, but I think the one thing that I would say here, because I realized this actually when I was working at an insurance company, you can't compete with other people. That is not don't and we all do this. Like, this is super common for us to do. We go, "Oh, well, like my neighbor over there just got a new Ferrari. Now I have to get a new Ferrari. Oh man, no. Oh, they got a boat. They okay, now I have to, right? Because it's like keeping up with the Joneses." No, you compete against yourself. So every day you need to be better than you were yesterday. That's the game you have to play. You can't worry about what your neighbors are doing, what your competition is doing, and what other people in your market are doing. Who cares what they're doing? Let them do whatever they're doing, and you worry about yourself. And if you're like, "Oh, I'm already the greatest one in my market." Fantastic. Then you got to keep going. So if you're the greatest one in your market like me, and I was at 260 doors, don't stop at 260 doors. Don't be like, "Oh, I already did it." Like, look at me. Keep going. So at 260 doors, double that, and then double it again. And when you're really on this path, like, that is how you become really, really great. Don't just say like, "Oh, I'm already the best in my market, so I'm there." You have not arrived yet.
So I think those listening, I mean, you know deep down whether your business is great or not, whether you're really delivering the level of service, and you know there's flaws. You know you're not at that great level yet. And to Sarah's credit, she was running a really effective business. I mean, you had
Mm,
60% plus profit margin and you
yes,
were
well,
part-time.
60 was a bad month. It was a
Listen to her
bad month.
brag.
It was a
This
bad
she's
month.
flexing
I was
here.
like,
So,
"Oh."
but she fell in love with coaching clients at DoorGrow. She was like part-time. She was like, "Hey," and she fell in love with something that she then really wanted to be great at, right? So, here's the thing. Know who you need to know who you are. ET talked about this. You need to know who you are and you need to become great. Not just the best in your market if the bar is really low, but you need to become where you know deep down is great. And that level, Ben Hardy, who wrote the 10x is easier than 2x, said the only person that knows your potential and is that's between you and God. And you might think everyone else might say, "Oh, what you're doing is amazing. It's great." But you might know there's more and no one else is going to be able to set that higher bar than yourself. You need to know what great is and decide what that looks like. And you need to become great. And what he said, when you become great, the system that you need will come. Like Michael Jordan invested and became great. And then the right people were attracted to him. He found Phil Jackson, right? Michael Jackson found Quincy Jones, right? Then when you become great, the system will come. The system is out there, it's available, and you will find the right system. And then once you have the system that you need, then you can leverage greatness. then you can really leverage that greatness and truly showcase your greatness. And you don't have to be the most talented if you got the right system. You don't have to be the smartest if you have the right system. You don't need to be different or different. You just need a be a better version of yourself and compete with yourself. And that's it. You just really need the right system. And I got excited because at DoorGrow, we've built the system. We built the system for the best property managers. That was our intention.
Mhm.
And I was really excited because I'm like, we're the system. We've got the system. We just need to find those that really want to be great. And so I'm challenging everyone listening. I want you to want to be great, but you've got to want it. No one else is going to do it for you. And Sarah wants me to wrap up. You want me to wrap up? We'll wrap up. So only
Have
you,
another call.
only you can do the work, but doing it alone is a choice. That's what he said. So find. He had this scripture. He said, "Find a man that's diligent in what he does, and he will stand before kings. Nothing can stop you. Only you can stop you. You owe you." And then he said, he had people chanting, "I can, I will, I must." And so when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you will be wildly successful. And we would love to be part of that journey.
What are those with the sticks?
I'm a conductor with my Apple Pencil. Dun, 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 dun. All right. I'm just getting excited. I'm going to poke somebody in the eye here.
It's going to be me. No, your hands always come near my face.
It's going to be me.
Right.
All right. So anyway, reach out to DoorGrow. We would love to support you. And until next time, to our mutual growth. Bye, everyone. I was wrapping it up, but you keep kicking me.
You're still live.
Oh. All right, I got to end this. Bye, everyone. She's kicking me under the desk. Oh, boy. Bye, everyone.